Good evening, my name is Katarzyna Nowicka and welcome to Poland Daily News. Today in Warsaw, we witnessed a spectacular edition of Operation Cargo. The world's largest aircraft, Antonov 225 Miria, landed as part of the airlift between China and Poland with a load of 1,000 cubic meters of medical products much needed in the fight against coronavirus. This successive transport of medical supplies and protective equipment for Polish physicians from China was financed by two strategic companies controlled by the state treasuries, KGHM, Polish Copper, and Lotos Group, commissioned by the Polish government.
The
largest cargo airplane in the world was used in order to bring help to our medical personnel and protect them in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic in Poland. Today, we are concentrating on the items we need the most in the current stage of our fight within the next few weeks. I extend thanks to our President Andrzej Duda for his conversation with the Chinese President Jinping, which was essential in the organization of this huge shipment. Thanks also to all staff of the Foreign Service and to all others involved. Now we will act in a dual way. First, we will secure and bring equipment mainly from the direction of China. Second, we want to rebuild our domestic manufacturing power, and we already have made some progress in case of simpler items, such as face masks and protective clothing.
Chociażby takiego jak maski czy fartuchy. Cały transport został zrealizowany.
This shipment had been procured on the order of the Prime Minister's office to fulfill the needs of government agencies and the needs of those who are on the front line of the fight against coronavirus, for the hospitals and all those working in emergency services. We try to secure the largest possible volume of supplies at once and very quickly. That is why we decided to hire this huge aircraft.
Przyjechał do Polski w jednym czasie, bo to jest istotne, żeby to było dostępne bardzo szybko.
What we fit inside this aircraft is not everything we had purchased. We still have hundreds of thousands of pieces of equipment to be brought in from China. I would like to use this opportunity to thank all medical personnel and all other supporting services who are fighting this coronavirus pandemic. I hope that what we do will bring them a significant help.
To, co robimy, to będzie dla nich duże wsparcie.
A plan for ending the nationwide lockdown in Poland is expected to be announced by the government in the coming days. According to unofficial information, certain trade restrictions and categories of services are to be lifted after April 19th, as well as the ban on access to parks and forests. This will be possible due to the regulation demanding citizens to cover their mouths and noses in public spaces, which is due to take effect this Thursday. The end of Easter is to begin the thaw of the economy, while after April 19th, some of the bans are to be lifted. The final decisions will be made after the data on infections during the Easter holidays are processed. The first changes are meant to re-enable the public to go to forests and parks, and changes are being considered to reopen hairdressing establishments. Changes to the limits on the number of people allowed in shops are also being considered. Today, we're going to be looking into whether or not to exempt certain areas from the need to wear masks. However, it is impossible to list them fully as of yet because there will always be some exceptions. In the first phase, decisions on removing the restrictions related to the limit of people in shops will be considered. Naturally, they will remain in place, but perhaps they will be implemented in a different way. In spite of a gradual return of economic activity, schools are still closed until April 26th. However, it is possible that they may be closed even until the summer holidays, which will also be different than in the past. There's no data that the epidemic will end because of the summer. In the world where we have a much higher temperature, a lot of sunshine, the virus is still present. I don't suspect that we will eradicate it by June or July. We'll be dealing with it for a year or longer. The 8th graders' exams and high school final exams could take place in June at the earliest. Moreover, in the case of the former, the exams might not take place at all. A scenario that neither exams will take place at all is also being considered. The recruitment process is likely to be postponed. The academic year could start on November 1st, and all scenarios are on the table. The situation is comfortable, but unpredictability does not only concern education. The pandemic writes the alternatives for us. Concrete decisions on lifting some of the bans are expected to be announced later this week. The number of confirmed cases of coronavirus infection in Poland is still increasing. There are currently 7,202 confirmed cases of the virus in the country. 263 people in the country have died.
The total number of confirmed cases of coronavirus infection in Poland is 7,202. 263 people have died. There are 260 new infections. 618 people have recovered from infection.
The World Health Organization warns against lifting restrictions introduced by governments around the world in connection with the coronavirus epidemic. However, more and more countries are deciding to gradually defrost the economy. The governments of Spain and Italy have already decided to loosen restrictions, whereas Great Britain and France are extending current restrictions until May. In the United States, President Donald Trump strongly urges to reopen the economy. Over 23,000 people in the United States died of COVID-19. The number of infected increased to nearly 600,000, while almost 37,000 people have been cured. The highest number of deaths is recorded in the state of New York, where more than 10,000 people died, and the number of infected exceeded 195,500. However, Governor of the state, Andrew Cuomo, has confirmed that the number of deaths in recent days has been falling.
And the worst news I've had to live with on a personal level. Number of deaths is 671. Not as bad as it has been in the past, but basically flat, and basically flat at a horrific level of pain and grief and sorrow. This is 671 people who passed away on Easter Sunday.
The situation in individual U.S. states varies. That's why Donald Trump is considering gradually opening up local economies, depending on the extent to which they have been affected by the coronavirus.
They want to open, they have to open, they have to get open. Every one of those states, the people want to go and they want to. Now, some are in a different situation. You have, I won't name states now, but I will over the next 2 or 3 days. I'm going to be very specific. But you have some states where this is not the kind of a problem that it is in New York or Louisiana or Michigan or other places that got hit very hard. Illinois got hit very hard. But all states want to open, and they want to open as soon as possible, but they want to open safely, and so do I.
In turn, French President Emmanuel Macron announced on Sunday evening the extension of restrictions imposed on citizens to May 11th, arguing that the fight against the epidemic is not yet over.
L'espoir renaît, je vous le disais, oui.
Hope is back, but this is not over yet. Hospitals are full in the capital region. In continental France and overseas, the healthcare system is overloaded, and the epidemic is still not under control. We must continue our efforts and continue to follow the rules that apply. The better they are followed, the more people we will save. That is why the sharpest form of blockade must last until Monday, May 11th.
Plus elles seront respectées, plus nous sauverons de vies.
According to Reuters, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's condition has improved. He has left the hospital, but the date of his return to the duties of the head of the Ministerial Council is not yet known. In Italy, where nearly 200,000 have tested positive for coronavirus infection and over 20,000 died, the government has decided to ease restrictions. The Italian government plans to gradually defrost the economy, beginning today in some regions of the country. Similarly, Spain is noting a decrease in the number of new infections. On Monday, the Minister of Health announced that the peak of the epidemic has already passed in the country. In the last 24 hours, 517 people have died, increasing the total death toll to almost 17,500, and the number of infections has nearly reached 170,000. 1,054 years ago, the ruler of Poland, Mieszko I, accepted holy baptism. By this act of faith, Poland joined the family of Christian countries in Europe. On this occasion, the Polish Sejm adopted a special bill on February 22, 2019. That's all for tonight. Now on to Poland Daily Business with Aleksander Wierzejski and his guest. Good night.